We're here for the latest episode of OMG JK. I'm Jason Kincaid.
And I'm MG Siegler. The first thing we're going to talk about is something we just came from right now, which is the Facebook Messages big announcement that they had today in San Francisco. So we were both there. You came a little bit late, but you were talking about it on TV, so you're big and important.
I was talking about on the TV that isn't it, not TechCrunch TV, the normal TV. Anyway, so what they're launching is something. I wrote a post last week that referenced this as being a Gmail killer, and this is something that actually we had heard was being thrown around internally. We didn't come up with that term.
And Zuckerberg brought that up today to say, like, we don't think of this isn't a Gmail killer. Some people in the press are saying it's a Gmail killer,
which is exactly what I'd expect him to say.
Right,
we're not going to kill Gmail until we try to kill it.
Right.
I mean, what I think they're doing right now. First, we should probably go over what this brings to the table. So what are like the main features of this?
So it's basically an all-encompassing messaging system. So they take Facebook messages as they existed, like the IM messages, your inbox, but also your inbox from other inboxes potentially, text messages, and what was the?
It's chat, Facebook messages. Right. SMS, and then you get a Facebook.com
and you get
email
a Facebook
address,
email, right?
Which is the key here, even though Facebook seems to be kind of downplaying it. So Facebook they're going to have IMAP support for their email, which is what you
But that's
use.
not ready yet, though.
Not ready yet. It's on the way. So there is going to be some fairly robust email functionality. They are leaving some parts out. Apparently, you can't have subject lines or CCs.
Yeah, I love that, though. CC is kind of weird not having that, I guess, as an option, but I love no subject lines. God, I hate that.
I think what we should do, and I think the tech press collectively should be looking at this at what Facebook could do with this in the next 6 months to a year. Because Facebook always launches a product that's missing some obvious features.
Right.
And I think what they're going to do is their strategy, I can't believe that they're content to let people just keep going back to Gmail to check their inbox.
I think that they'll do, they'll have some kind of integration with it or something where, right now the way I use Gmail is I forward several other email addresses to my Gmail address and use that as my central hub for email. I wouldn't be surprised if they come up with a better way to have it, you could forward all your Gmail right now to there. It would be a little weird because they don't have the subject lines and stuff, but those still get imported, I assume, like if that comes into your thing.
Yeah, and I think the really exciting thing here is what'll happen when Facebook starts tying together these messages with the existing products, like photos and events. Like what happens if you get an evite from someone and that actually goes to your events tab on Facebook? Facebook as a control panel.
It's bringing everything inside the walls of Facebook.
And you could have a deals tab. You could have a tab for, maybe you could customize which tabs you want. You already have these applications on Facebook. Maybe you can install a new app that lets you control all of your travel stuff.
And some people will be freaked out about that, of course. But I don't know. It seems right now, so we have early access to it, and I've been playing around with it a little bit. I was IMing with someone within Facebook and then also sending a message. And it's kind of cool because it all goes into the same stream. It's all in like this history area, and it comes in real time too, so you can actually see. And like you're talking about, when you can get pictures in there and everything, and it all just comes in real time, it's pretty neat.
And you can access this from your phone, right?
Right.
My understanding is the iPhone
I haven't
app.
used it on the iPhone yet, but they did enable it. Yeah, I saw. I looked at it for a second. They have a nice little stream there going on, and they updated it on the mobile web version of the site.
Right.
And you'll be able to interact with this through SMS itself, which is kind of interesting.
So Facebook isn't necessarily positioning this as their email service, but it could be leapfrogging existing
email
is
one part of it. It's almost like the way I phrased it in one of the posts I wrote today was like email is sort of like the gateway drug for a lot of older users, because Zuckerberg talked a lot about teenagers that he had talked to, and they don't use email at all. They just use SMS or IM. And the reason is, it's just too cumbersome. You have to enter in the subject line and all those kinds of things. So why not just do it instantaneously? And so this is like their idea, I think, is to pull all this in together, and eventually just that Facebook history, their inbox thing will be like what messaging is.
Yeah, I mean, I think the launch today is going to have some very important implications down the next year or year and a half, and I do think this could directly target Gmail.
Do you think a lot of people are going to use the @Facebook email address?
Not initially. I think until there's a compelling reason to do that, and I don't think that's going to come for a while. Like I said, if they start doing it where you can there's actually some benefit to forwarding these messages to your Facebook address so that it
Right,
sorts it for you by putting it in
Right.
a proper
Right.
application. That would be a reason to start directing things to your Facebook.com email address. And I think there's other things they can do there. Right now, I think some people may use it just sort of as a novelty. More casual users who don't really use their email for anything other than getting Facebook notifications in the first place
Right.
might switch. But I think it's going to be a longer transition period.
They've already made Facebook messages so much better than it was, though. It was like such a stale, lame, subversion of email before, and now it's, it feels more alive, and it just feels like it's just much better already. I wonder, though, we've probably got about 2 hours until the huge privacy backlash about this begins.
So I don't think privacy is going to be too much of an issue here. I think even Facebook, they've pushed the boundaries before, but when it comes to private messages and email, I feel like it's so sacred that they know that they can't really.
I'm sure someone will find some, like the ACLU will dig in there and find something that's.
They already released their I don't
right. They released their statement.
They
an
do
hour
some
before.
solid work, but sometimes they do it a little early. I think my biggest concern, it's not privacy, it's more the fact that Facebook can be kind of buggy. Like they push stuff as quickly as they can,
Right.
and there have been incidents where privacy settings haven't worked as they were intended to, or for example, earlier this year, there was an issue where direct messages with Facebook's old messaging client were going to the wrong people. It only happened
Yeah, could you imagine if that happened with text messaging?
Exactly. Facebook said that it only happened to, they shut it down, this sending messages to the wrong users, but there were hundreds of messages sent. That's sort of alarming.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the issue more than privacy. I don't think Facebook is intentionally going to do anything here, at least not.
Well, what about if it's not privacy? What about just the this big blowups they have when they change anything? Maybe they won't have that so much this time because you still can't use the system the way you were using it with chat and everything.
And I'd be surprised if there are that many users who really loved the existing messaging in the first place. I think the users who would have been outraged by this are going to love the fact that they can now use chat and SMS. I think there's sort of a very similar demographic.
Where's the Android love? Why no Android love? Again.
I don't know.
What did they tell us? They said, we asked them about this during the thing, and they said they just released the Android app. So it sounds like they're just not very good at iterating it quickly yet.
Well, they gave, we did an interview with Mark Zuckerberg a few weeks ago where he talked about why Android is behind. And it was actually sort of Google's fault. Google acquired the developer who was doing the Android app.
Right.
So it's not entirely Facebook's fault, although us.
Yeah, but they're so big, and they should be able to do this by now.
It's a little frustrating.
Whatever. They focus on iPhone first, as they should, which is good.
All right, next topic. So today also, actually this is last night, had a big new product and launch, or startup launch. It's called Path. And we've been hearing about this for quite a while now. It's founded by Dave Warren, who was the lead of Facebook's development platform, I think, for a long time.
Right.
And he left, I believe it was early this year or last year.
Yeah.
But he was there for a long time, and they've built out a solid team. They've got Matt Van Horn, who was biz dev at Dig. It was co-founded by Sean Fanning, I believe. But
we're not sure what his actual role is there anymore.
In any case, it built up a lot of buzz over the last few months. It finally launched last night, and it's essentially Instagram without the filters and with the new privacy model. That's all about sharing with people you know.
So photo sharing is the new hot thing. There's Instagram, there's Pick Please, there's one called Treehouse. There's a bunch of these things out there. Path is really interesting to me, at least, because it's going against the grain of being a viral app. It's instead of syndicating out to every single thing, you can't do that at all. There's no way to syndicate to Twitter and Facebook yet, which is really surprising. And I thought, my initial reaction was, wow, how is anyone going to find out about this? Or
So they're going for word of mouth, basically.
Yeah.
And the idea is there is some sharing that goes on. If I decide to add you to my Path and you're not on the service yet, you will get an email.
Right.
And
you can do it that way.
may be tempted, you're like, oh, I might want to see what his photos are.
That's sort of the weird thing, too. That dynamic is really interesting because unlike Twitter or anything else in the past where you opt into following someone pushes something at you and you start seeing it. You, of course, have to sign up for the service itself first, so it's not like you could just start seeing these randomly, but you have to be in the app. But that's kind of a weird dynamic of it.
It's different, and I like that.
I think that's pretty cool.
I think there is definitely a market for photo sharing applications, for sharing photos of people that you're fairly confident aren't going to go throw this on the web, for example.
Yes, and how would they even throw it on the web? They have to take a screenshot of it and then
which wouldn't be that hard.
Well, yeah, but it's kind of a pain. They don't make it easy to share. And I mean, we were joking about this earlier. This is like the anti-Scoble network. I mean, he loves signing up for a new service and immediately getting like 10,000 friends, and you can only have 50 friends on this.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's going to have to start up multiple paths. He's going to have to carry multiple phones so he can share different
That'd be hilarious. He has 7 phones in his holsters.
This is my tech path. We love you, Scoble.
But yeah, and I think in Dave Morin's post about it, he talked a little bit about like the Dunbar number and things like that. So there's only so many friends you can actually have.
And that number is 50, right? Or I don't know the number.
I think it was closer. It's more than that.
The maximum on Path, you can only have 50 friends.
Right.
And I think, like I said, I do think it's got a fairly compelling use case. It may have some trouble spreading, but I'm wondering where the monetization's going to come. And Dave, when I talked to him last night, he definitely talked about how this company is for the long haul. They've got a long-term vision for this sort of thing.
First release that they're getting out there.
First step. So it's probably way too early to judge really how they're going to go about monetizing
and they could very well add in other things. If they need to grow faster, they could add in a share to Twitter, share to Facebook thing.
And I think the team alone, even if the app isn't a smash hit at first, you can't count Path out, for sure.
They've got just about every big angel investor investing in the company.
It's like a laundry list.
It's like 20. They have more angels than heaven.
And like half of them were ex-Facebookers too.
Yeah.
So
but the app itself looks pretty nice. I mean, it's got nice UI. It has good functionality.
It's definitely polished.
Yeah, it's very polished.
One other interesting approach they're taking. They've made a few. Some of the features are a little strange.
Like
one of them, Scene.
Yeah.
So there's a feature where if I share a photo with my network, I can see who actually looked at that photo.
Right. And all they have to do to look at it is just click on it. It's not like, I mean, all it is just you clicked on it and you actually saw it. They know you saw it.
So which kind of has a weirdness factor, at least when you look back at other social networks. If Facebook alerted you every time someone looked at your photo, that'd be kind of weird. But the fact that Path is all about people you genuinely like sharing content with, like the people you hang out with, your family, that sort of thing, it seems cool.
Yeah, the one thing it needs is comments. It has no comments yet, which is kind of odd.
It's all about tagging, right?
Yeah,
instead of
tagging,
comments,
like I could tag you that we're here, and then they have this kind of vague idea of things. Yeah, you could do anything basically. Like we're here with this table, It's
or
like,
TechCrunch TV would probably.
Or TechCrunch TV, or anything. It's kind of strange in that regard.
Which effectively serves as a caption. It adds some context, but I do wish it had comments because I feel like the user interaction at this point. I look at your photo and I can't really do anything.
The idea would be that you would see that person in person and say like, "Hey, I saw you saw my photo at the thing," or so, you could talk about it because you know that they saw it. That's kind of interesting.
That's interesting. I don't think that's. I mean, that's if you're in the same city or you live nearby or something, you can do that.
Right.
But I don't think I'm going to call up my mom. I really like that photo you just.
The most compelling thing about it to me, I think, is to look at the app. They have that map view or whatnot, and then you can kind of see where your friends are around the world. And again, you're limited to 50 friends, so these are supposed to be your actual friends. And it's like, oh yeah, I can see like he was on this trip or something, or going hiking. It's just kind of interesting to look at quickly.
We'll keep an eye on Path and Facebook Messages. And there's new Apple news that's coming soon. So
tomorrow,
that's exciting. All right. Well, thank you guys all for tuning in for OMG JK. Make sure to tune in next week and subscribe to us on iTunes using the link below.
Thanks.